Welcome to the second annual Henrietta Pride Flag Raising Ceremony. I'm Henrietta Town Supervisor Steve Schultz, and I would like to read you the proclamation that was passed last Wednesday on July 8th. Whereas the town of Henrietta is a highly diverse town with a belief in equal opportunity for all people, regardless of gender, race, creed, national origin, sexual orientation, or gender identity and expression. And whereas the town council has a core belief that greater diversity in leadership leads to better decision making. And whereas the recent Supreme Court ruling on the case of Bostock versus Clayton County clarified that Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits businesses from discriminating on the basis of gender identity or sexual orientation. And whereas the town wishes to reaffirm its commitment to equality under the law, such that individuals in the community have the same opportunities and are free from discrimination in all aspects of life, including employment, housing, and services. And whereas in the Rochester area, Pride Week is being observed during the week of July 12th to the 18th, 2020, to celebrate the advancements towards equality for members of the LGBTQ community. Therefore, be it resolved that the town of Henrietta proclaims July 12th to 18th, 2020 as Pride Week in the town of Henrietta to celebrate the LGBTQ community in Henrietta and the diversity that makes Henrietta strong, and to reaffirm the town's commitment to working towards equal rights for all. Be it further resolved that the town of Henrietta will fly a rainbow flag in support of Pride Week at Town Hall. Thank you.
Woo!
Are you up next? Are you introducing?
Hi, I would like to proudly introduce our assemblyman for the 138th Assembly District here in Henrietta, Mr. Harry Branson, Assemblyman Harry Branson.
Woo! Thank you, Courtney, and thank you, Supervisor Schultz, for putting this together. This is the second year in a row. You and the town board members, you do us honor by recognizing the LGBTQ plus community. I want to thank everybody who's here tonight, and because of social distancing, we have a lot more people who are viewing us online through Facebook live stream. So thank you for being with us as well. You know, this year is especially important as we celebrate Pride. And that's because we do it in the context of Black Lives Matter. And many of us, myself, and I look around and I see a lot of other people who have been working for our human rights in the LGBTQ plus community for decades. And it started a little bit over 50 years ago, really, with the Stonewall riots. And that was the manifestation of the discrimination and the oppression that we in the gay community, if you will, have felt for many, many years before that. Discrimination in the area of housing, in the area of banking, in the area of employment. And the level of frustration and anger boiled up a little bit over 50 years ago. And that's what we're feeling right now with the Black Lives Matter. And that's why I, as a gay man, want to let everyone know in our community that I stand with our black and brown brothers and sisters and others in our community. And, you know, we're raising the flag, and our flag is a little bit different this year. And if you'll just scan over there, the flag's a little bit different. The flag this year is not only the rainbow colors, which is the traditional LGBTQ flag, but it also includes our trans members of our community. And it importantly highlights the black and brown members of our community. We have grown as a community, the LGBTQ plus community, we've grown. And there's a lot more growth to have. And I say, I'm glad of all of our history and all of our advances for our LGBTQ plus rights. But we also have to recognize at Stonewall, I want to mention that it was Black trans women who really led the beginning of that riot. And so I want to recognize that we have so much more work to do as we are marshaling our way through and learning our way through Black Lives Matter. We in the gay community, we have to make sure that we are allies to all of the members in our community who are Black and brown people. And for that, I will say I will be an ally, but more importantly, I will be an anti-racist. And as a policymaker, every decision I make will be based on one of two questions. Are we advancing equality and equity for everyone, or are we removing barriers to equity for everyone? And if we're answering one of those questions with yes, then I think our policy making is going forward in the right direction. But today, let's be proud of who we are. Let's live our authentic selves of who we are, and let's be allies and supportive of everyone else in the community. And thank you so much for being with us, whether it's here on the lawn of the town hall, or if it's live out there in the social media world. So thank you all for being here.
I'd now like to introduce another very awesome member of our community, Mr. J.D. Jackson.
All right. Thank you. I'm in position now. Yeah, I also want to thank Courtney, Harry, Steve for inviting me here once again to this. I was here last year, and it is an honor to be here once again. I'm grateful to have once again been invited here to speak on this, now the second annual Pride flag raising occasion for Henrietta. We can get a yay on that, right? As I stated on last year with a call for a love revolution, when I look at the Pride flag, I observe the many colors coming together, and it reminds me of the Martin Luther King Jr. quote that says, "We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all." A few months ago, if it had not started sooner, I believe the revolution was started. Who knew besides Prince that the revolution would start in Minneapolis? Yes, in the midst of the rioting and chaos resulting from the recorded murder of George Floyd, a revolution began, a love revolution. A revolution which included those of every color, creed, gender, sexual orientation, speaking out and saying not only that Black lives matter, but we stand together to protest anyone or anything that stands in the way of the progress until all lives truly matter. Indeed, until all lives, red, brown, yellow, black, and white, matter to all red, brown, yellow, black, and white lives, all lives don't matter yet. Nevertheless, let the dog whistle sound. We will pay them no mind as we stand together, knowing that the only way we can truly stand together is together. Remaining divided, we shall truly fall. No, you being all you can be is no threat to me being all that I can be. Truly, that rising tide will raise all of our boats. And know this, we are all in the same boat. So the call today is to get on the boat. Down with racism, get on the boat. Down with sexism, get on the boat. Down with homophobia, get on the boat. Down with hate and division, get on the boat. Today is the 14th day of July, and we know what that 14th day is in February, right? I'm going to call this, as we start the love revolution that has already begun. We're going to continue it on, okay? And also, this November 3rd, the call is to go into your voting booth and practice love there. Peace, love, justice, and blessing. God bless you all. Thank you.
We have another set of parents here in Henrietta, lovely gentlemen, and I'd love to introduce Mr. Steve Lovey. If you'd like to come share a few words.
Thank you, actually, everyone, for attending today. I am so happy to be here involved in this. I'm so happy to be involved in this event. I've actually lived in this community for 35 years. I'm a resident in Henrietta. I also have a son here, 6 years old, who attends the school district in Henrietta. This is really wonderful. The lives here are so diverse. Our community is wonderful. It's welcoming. It's really important that we have wonderful family values here, and that I love the fact that we have a commitment actually to this community as well. I appreciate all the people that are here. And Henrietta, the town board, Monroe County, the town supervisor. I want to say thank you specifically to the town supervisor and the town board actually, and the people that actually work for the town of Henrietta as well, and all the volunteers actually that work in Henrietta. Let's celebrate Pride. That's great. I want to teach you how to say Happy Pride. So this is a sign for this. This is happy. So you guys follow me. This is happy, and this is pride. And this is pride. And this is also the sign for rainbow and the sign for pride as well. Thank you all for coming this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you. I'm another member of our community who's a trans activist and a member of our local community here in Henrietta is Julia Acosta.
I didn't prepare a specific speech, because as my students will tell you, I speak off the cuff and from the heart. And I thought a lot about what message I might want to say. And it kept coming back to a single question. And the question is, what is your pride? I was asked, what is your pride 11 years ago while attending MCC at the Damon City campus. So proud to be a graduate. Well, actually, not a graduate, but I attended. It's one class shy. But I'm proud to be a resident of Henrietta. I chose to live here. Spent a lot more years in Brighton than Henrietta, but this is where I decided to buy my home. Proud to raise my kids here. I'm proud to be an activist here. I'm proud to be a community member here in Henrietta. We are living in a world plagued by fear, divisiveness, uncertainty, and occasional lunacy from our leaders, but not here in Henrietta. Here in Henrietta, people pull together. We recognize the need to build community, and we recognize that we're proud of our community. We're proud of all the members of our community. We're diverse. Many of us are transplants. Many of us have any number of different values, traditions, beliefs, identities that we bring to the table and make Henrietta richer for it. I'm proud to live in Henrietta. I'm proud to call myself a resident of this town because I'm surrounded by people that share a common set of values. A common set of values that puts diversity, inclusiveness, and equity first and foremost. We don't pretend that there aren't challenges, especially systemic ones. When talking about Black Lives Matter, when talking about systemic racism, there are challenges ahead. But here in Henrietta, we're also not shy from hard work, and we're not shy from, putting ourselves out there authentically, speaking from the heart. And so if there is any one thing I want to say, because as my students will tell you, I ramble a lot, it is that Pride here in Henrietta is about asking ourselves, what are you proud of? And how are you going to enrich our community by sharing your pride? So I asked Henrietta, what is your pride?
All right. I wanted to share a few words here today. Wait, sorry, pull my mask down. I helped pull together this event last year in Henrietta. We had a huge successful event with a lot of help planning. This year, sadly, with COVID-19, we didn't think there would be any Pride celebrations, and most of them were indeed canceled. And so we just figured we weren't going to do it. But I was inspired by the Black Lives Matter events here in Rochester, where they said we're going to find a way to do these events and get out and say what we need to say in public and do it safely. And so I said, okay, we're going to do the flag anyways, and it may be last minute, but we can do something small and think outside the box, and we'll get it online. We'll do this. We can't make our pride go away because of this pandemic. But what I've been reflecting on a lot is how isolated these last few months have felt. Am I alone in that? Everybody can say, you know what? A lot of us have been told, stay in your home, don't go out. And that's the exact opposite of what we think about when we think about pride. We think about pride and we want to get out in public and scream out who we are, and we're proud to be who we are, and we want to be loud and proud. And as a society, we've been told, go in, we don't want to spread our germs, we want to keep each other safe, right? And so what I've been thinking about is, in order to keep our community safe, we have to do exactly opposite what we usually think of doing to keep our community safe, reaching out to those who are most marginalized, telling young people, we're going to be out and proud and be who we are. Some of those most marginalized are the elders in our community who may be home alone, they may live alone, maybe their families have rejected them because of who they are. And who would feel most isolated by this pandemic is those who maybe don't have family that they live with. Maybe people live alone. Maybe a teenager who doesn't have that outlet to go to their LGBT pride group in their school may feel alone in their sexuality at home in a more conservative family. Maybe an elder who's home and doesn't have family that they live with and they're alone, and during this they have to stay by themselves and not go out in the community. So I think that when we think of pride this year, we need to really think about each other and how can we reach out and support each other while being safe, and think of those who might be the most impacted. Think of those who, I really wanted this flag up because maybe we can't have a big party, but maybe there's a 13-year-old sitting in the back seat of a minivan going by who sees it and says, okay, my community cares about me even if I can't be out at home. Or my community cares about me even though I'm not living with anybody and I can't go out and be social. So I really challenge people to think about who might be most impacted by this isolation, and how can we show our pride and care as a community while we keep our masks on and we stay home and we keep our social distancing. How can we make sure that those who might be most impacted by this are still hearing from us and they're still seeing? Because social justice issues can take a back seat. With this administration right now, they can try to pass legislation against us, and how can we get out and scream about it? And so we really need to keep aware. We've got bigger issues going on in the world right now that are at the forefront, but we need to keep that in mind, that social justice issues can get tossed and people can be most isolated, and we still need to keep putting those symbols out there saying we are here for you, we are proud, we still are who we are, and we love you even if we can't see each other right now. So I just was thinking about that. I wanted to share that. And I wanted to invite anybody that I didn't think of maybe who wanted to speak at this. If there's anybody else who wants to speak, the floor is open and I'd love to invite you to share.
Do we want to raise the flag and then open?
Is there anybody else who wants to share at all? No? Okay.
Thank you, Courtney.
Thank you, Courtney.
Thank you, Courtney. Thank you all for coming and for joining us online. There's a bunch of people online with us.
This way.
There is one more event in Pride Week. I also want to thank community members who stayed involved, even though this has been small this year. The Henrietta Public Library, our brand new, that way this time, new library. Gorgeous library. Thank you, Town of Henrietta, for giving us this amazing library. But even more than amazing, the library is the library staff. And every time I've told them, I want to do this, they're like, okay, how can we help? I want to do Pride. Okay, what can we do to help? This year they did a children's storybook story time last night. You can still find it on their website. If you want to read some Pride family stories and dancing and songs with your family, you can still find it. And tomorrow morning, launching at 10 o'clock on the Facebook page, they're going to be launching a book of LGBT-related books that you can check out for something to do during your quarantine. So we really want to thank all the amazing support we always get from the library staff here in Henrietta. Happy Pride! Happy Pride, everybody.
Thank you very much for attending.